Why, hello there. Again, it's Dejah. And today's video is going to be shorter, you know. This is basically my testimony, how I came to Jesus. And yeah, let's get right into it. Well, as you guys may know, well, to put into context, currently 14. And this past Tuesday hit 2 years hit 2 years in my walk with God. So is really calculated. I got baptized at 12. So, to summarize it, tell you a little bit about me. You know, I was one of those kids who had like the best grades, like mostly A's and B's and stuff like that. But I got into trouble at school a lot. Got sent out of the classroom, got sent to the principal's office, and just, things like that. And, I always claimed to have a faith in God. Like, I claim I knew Jesus died on the cross for me. I went to church, stuff like that, yada, yada, yada. At the age of like 10, I stopped going to church because the church I had went to, it stopped opening due to COVID when it had happened. So I didn't go to church from like 10 to 11, just like a year, you know. And during that time, my brother, he started going to this church, right? And he would invite me out, tell me about it a couple of times, but I never really cared to go because I like 11 stuff like that. And during this was probably one of the darkest times of my life. Um, didn't really care about school stuff like that. Just really did it to make my family happy and get good grades and stuff like that. So I didn't really care about anything besides that. Um, and my brother would invite me out to church and all that stuff. And it wasn't until when I first actually came out, which was like January 3rd, 2024, I came out to my first devotional, which is like church on a Friday. Yeah, church on a Friday. Finally went out to see what the church was like. It was pretty weird to be honest. Like people were actually nice. I thought when they're being nice, they're being sarcastic, stuff like that. Um, People were sharing. The lesson was probably the best part that people really go. Like the lessons, like the main. Sorry guys. The lessons, like the main part of the Friday devotional. The lesson was just awesome. It was my first time actually hearing someone like preach about the Bible and what to do and what not to do, and give practicals to go based off of it. So, after I went to my first devotional, I was asked to study the Bible by this girl named Sarah. And, I started doing the Bible studies. I did a couple of them, and then I kind of fell off for like a month or two. And then this girl sister in our church, she actually came back from LA to back to our church, and she started doing the Bible studies with me. Within 2 weeks, on June 9th of 2024, I got baptized into Christ. And it was just awesome. The Bible studies were awesome. They really teach you how to see God with your full heart and what it's like to truly be a Christian and a disciple of Christ. you know what I like about the church also is that it doesn't justify your sin and all that stuff, because there are many churches that will just tell you about the Bible, but then they'll be hypocrites and go do the sin that they talk about. So I really like the church that I go to because they don't tolerate sin. um, we also have spiritual mentors to help us get closer to God, because the Bible says that we need someone to teach us the Bible and stuff like that. So obviously, we have a mentor to help teach us about the Bible. And hitting 2 years is just really awesome. And sorry guys, I had to pause there. My brother was coming in, and just been awesome. You know, um, really thank you guys for listening to my testimony. This is where the video is mainly gonna really cut out, but I'm gonna start a series off of this video, and it's gonna be other people basically telling you how they also came to Christ and how God's worked in their life and how He's changed their lives too. But thank you for watching. Thank you.